Selamat siang, Mbak Operator. Bukan merangkap moderator ya, Mbaknya?
Bukan, Bapak.
Oh, dosen ya? Moderatornya dosen ya? Kalau ini yang dilibatkan mahasiswa S1 atau S2, Mbak? Operatornya.
Mahasiswa S1, Bapak.
Oke, sip.
Okay, good day, everyone. Welcome to this parallel session. Maybe there is some presenter that not here yet, but we started on time without waiting others, gitu ya. In this session, you will present your paper. Presentation time is about 7 minutes to present, and Q&A session is about 3 minutes. Before it, I want to introduce myself. Okay. I think I got some trouble in here. Okay, but my voice still everyone can hear, yeah? Okay.
I cannot look your face.
Okay, in my place,
disappear.
yes, I'm trying to make it work, but I think it's because it's raining in my house now.
Oh, I'm very afraid maybe there is a ghost in here.
But my voice still hear it, right?
Okay.
Okay. Without any further, we'll start from the first presenter, maybe Miss Rahmaditya Dewi, right? With correlation between risk perception and trust in government toward vaccination taking in Indonesia. Okay, Ms. Rahmaditya, maybe you can share screen before.
Okay, thank you, Miss Gama Rahmita. I thought I get the second place for this presentation.
Miss Hendrika and Miss Ci Ikanovita not here yet, so we need to start on time, right?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I will present my result from my research with the title of correlation between risk perception and trust in government toward vaccination taking in Indonesia. This research was funded by Faculty of Psychology Universitas Negeri Malang. Thank you. And here's our team. Ami, Rahmaditya Dewi Rizky, Muhammad Said, Angga Yuni Mantara, Azhar Nabil Hamami, and Muhammad Iqbal Fahrul Firdaus. And here I will present for section And first is introduction. Why we make this research? Because COVID pandemic has been already a year. At that time, we conduct this research, and one of effort from government to lessen the spreading of COVID is make vaccination program for all people in Indonesia. But unfortunately, according to WHO, there were still 8% who refused to get vaccinated and 37% who still had doubt about the vaccine. And why they refuse and doubting the vaccination program? Because they doubting the vaccination development because of side effect or trial effect from the development. And the second factor is they think that COVID is propaganda from the government, and how the government tackling the hoax spreading at the community, it makes their doubting about this vaccination program. And the perception, they think that they living in health condition, living in health community, and they think that they not in the high risk of COVID infection. So, as in many research, risk perception is a factor behind individual in vaccination. As this a study before, as well as trust in government in the promoting vaccine and trust in providing information about the vaccination itself are the most powerful factor in influencing people's decision to vaccinate. So we got the methodology here. Our study using correlational design, and the instrument is using COVID-19 risk perception scale by Dryhars et al. And second scale is trust in the government from Van der Wert et al. And the last scale is vaccine decision making developed by Hooking. The subject was 300 to 29 people from 103 men and 226 women. The data collection conduct online via Google Form, distribute from social media by WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter between 15 June until 25 June 2021, sorry. And the data analysis using Pearson and Spearman-Brown, and the multiple correlation using regression. And here the result. The subject was from, most of the subject education was high school, and the second is bachelor, and the domicile is most of from Java, from Kalimantan. And here's the categorization of every variable. The risk perception, the majority is high in 69.7%, and trust of government also high in 86.9%, and vaccine acceptance in high also in 92.4%. And here the assumption test, the data distribute normal, but the risk perception and vaccine acceptance, the data is normal, the linearity was linear, and trust of government, the data was normal, but it's not linear. That's why we use Spearman-Brown non-parametric analysis. And here the correlation analysis. Oh, I'm sorry. Why we use Pearson? No. Here the partial correlation. Risk perception, correlation risk perception toward vaccine is 0.378, and government trust toward vaccine 0.419. Oh, I'm sorry. And the multiple correlation, we use regression. It tells the result R was 0.511. And here the discussion between risk perception and vaccination taking indicate a low significant correlation. The low correlation may be influenced by factor other than the studied here, which is unfamiliarity and long-term impact of the vaccination. And the partial correlation between trust in government and vaccination acceptance show a significant with moderate level of correlation. The study supports finding from the previous study by Han et al., Suarez et al., and Van der Wert et al., which found that trust in government was individual vaccinate. And here's the result of statistical analysis of multi-correlation indicate that the major hypothesis is accepted. This like previous research conducted by Hobson, West, and Van der Wert, that perceived risk and trust in government have a correlation with decision making for taking vaccine. So the conclusion is awareness of the dangers of COVID-19 is already high in Indonesia, and as well as trust in the government. And this has resulted in high acceptance of vaccination program. There is a correlation on 3 variables, although in low and moderate condition, we suggest that government to provide more complete and consistent information related to pandemic to maintain public trust, which affect on acceptance of vaccination. I think this, and thank you.
Okay, that was the presentation from Ms. Rahmaditya. Are there any questions? Any question?
Yes.
Okay.
May I ask a question, Miss or Mrs. Rahmaditya? This. Mrs.
I always miss.
Oh, you are Miss. You are student.
So,
No.
no,
You are a
because I always
lecturer.
17.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, that's good. I wonder why, if people have trust, higher trust in government, they will more want to have vaccination. Why? Is it any problem with the trust of people to government? And you put it as your variable, independent variable in your research. Why?
Yeah, because previously I have a preliminary study about why, like WHO
Yes.
study also, why people not like taking the vaccination, because the government don't give the information
Comprehensively.
yes.
Yes, I know.
So
Yes.
they
So
do like what the vaccination, how, what exactly the side effect, how the I mean the information cannot touch and cannot understand by every people,
yes.
every level of economic. So they so even the government make amendment or no what rule or
I think you can mix it with
appeal.
Indonesian.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. We are Indonesian people in here.
Ya, meskipun mereka sudah dihimbau,
Yes.
they want to push, menolak sebisa mungkin untuk tidak melakukan vaksinasi. Karena itu tadi mereka tidak vaksinnya itu dibeli atau dibuat, tapi tidak dijelaskan apakah ini benar-benar sudah memenuhi syarat dan sebagainya. That's by my previous preliminary study. So I take it as my variable.
Are you separate your sample, that higher education and lower education? Because higher education, I think they will more have an interest in the risk of the vaccination than ya bila dibandingkan compared to the trust of the government. Higher education more prefer do not want to vaccination because of the risk. Bukan karena semata-mata karena kepercayaan pada pemerintah. Nah, padahal korelasinya itu kan nggak menonjol. Yang menonjol kan lebih ke trust-nya. Benar nggak? Sedangkan yang resikonya kan nggak menonjol di riset Anda. Walaupun bersama-sama dia diregresikan jalan. Nah, itu saya bertanya itu. Karena menurut saya yang higher education itu lebih ngurusin resikonya dibanding kepercayaan pada pemerintahnya. Menurut saya loh. Nggak tahu. Monggo riset Anda gimana?
Yeah, I don't separate the analysis, so I think it can be my masukan for next analysis.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. That's good. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sinambela. Thank you, Miss Rahmaditya.
Mrs.
Rahmaditya. Okay.
Yeah, Mrs.
Okay, thank you, Miss Rahmaditya, for the presentation. Now, then we move on to the next presenter because I appreciate about on time. Now we goes to Miss Diansa Fitri, the influence of meaningful work and organizational citizenship behavior on job. Ms. Diansa Fitri, are you ready for presented your paper?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. You. Are you ready? Okay, then please, you can present your paper.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for coming to this presentation and honor to meet you here. Let me introduce myself and my partner. I'm Dian Savitri and my partner is Mrs. Dia Sulistyorini. We are from Faculty of Psychology Education. I would like to present the result of the result of our research title of the influence of meaningful work and organizational behavior on job performance of employees. I start from the introduction. In ideal condition, job performance is the result of particular job. It have vital and crucial role because can contribute greatly to sustainability of the company. But in real condition, not all employees can show good job performance, which caused by pressure and overworkload. Therefore, it was important for companies or organizations to provide an understanding of the importance of work orientation and the meaningful work. According to research by Idula Filastri, the meaningful work can affect to performance improvement. In addition to meaningful work, there were other variables that can affect to an employee's performance, such as organizational sensitive behavior. And according to Robin and Judge, successful organizations need employees needs employee who will do their job outside of the formal duties. Employees who exhibit this behavior to display job performance that outside of expectation. In addition, there are previous research that have research meaningful work in organizational behavior together. Research went to test the empirical idea of behavior. The job performance can be influenced by two interrelated interrelated variables such as meaningful work and organizational behavior. It were due to both of them have greatly contributed to the company's achievement. The purpose of this research is to know the effect of organizational, to know the of meaningful work on increasing job performance, to know the effect of organizational behavior on increasing job performance, and to know the effect of meaningful work and organizational behavior on job performance. Job performance can be defined as the level of employee skill in doing the job that are part of the job description, which have 4 dimensions: task performance, contextual performance, adaptive performance, and counterproductive work behavior. Steger and Dick defines the meaningful work as work that has meaning, which refers to person's perspective broadly related to the work done, which have 3 dimensions: positive meaning, meaning making work, and good motivation. Organ defines the organizational behavior as individual behavior was voluntary, such as individual behavior that is informally carried with a person and is not related to the organization's formal reward system, but overall can contribute positive to organizational effectiveness, which have 5 dimensions: altruist, sportsmanship, consciousness, courtesy, and civic factor. There are 2 research hypotheses. Number 1, it has effect of meaningful work on job performance. Number 2, it has effect of organizational behavior on job performance. And number 3, it have effect of meaningful work and organizational behavior on job performance. This research using a quantitative research approach with multiple linear regression analysis method because the independent variable consists of more than one. And the population of this research were 600 employees, and with sample selection using a simple random sampling technique by lottery, as many 86 employees by solving formula. Data collection was carried out 2 times, such as The trial was carried on 30 respondents and the research data collection was carried on 86 respondents. Instruments in this research use 3 research instruments such as individual work performance questionnaire, work and meaning inventory, and organizational citizen behavior adoption of instrument developed by Habib. Data analysis. Based on the validity test of this research use product moment correlation, the test results were know that all items have met the instrument validity requirement, which are less than or equal to 0.05. And based on the result of the descriptive on the reliability test, using Cronbach alpha showed that all variables were reliable. Based on the result of descriptive analysis calculation that from 86 respondents were found the variable meaningful work have a minimum value of 29, maximum value of 55, mean of 39.13, and standard deviation of 5.741, and so on as in the table. And based on the result of the normality test, it can be seen that the 3 variables were normality distribution is normality distribute in normality distribute. Based on the result of the linearity test, it were found that the variable of meaningful work and organizational behavior had a significant linear relationship with the employee job performance variable. And based on the result of partial hypothesis that it were found that meaningful work had a significant value of 0.770 or more than 0.05. So the hypothesis one was rejected. Well, the organizational behavior variable had a significant value of 0.000 or less than or equal to 0.05. So the hypothesis 2 was accepted. And based on the result of simultaneous hypothesis test, it were found that the meaningful work and organizational behavior variable had a significance of 0.000 or less than or equal to 0.05. So the hypothesis 3 was accepted. And the next slide, it's discussion. Number 1, there is not meaningful work effect on job performance. It were same with research by Alan and Grant. Alan's research showed that meaningful work is not able to predict employee job performance over time. Meanwhile, Grant research cite the effective work show with relationship with job performance of employee appraisal objectively and subjectively. Number 2, there is an effect of organizational behavior on job performance. It was same with research by Lestari and Gaby. They explained that organizational behavior has a positive effect on employees' performance with the percentage of success reason 89.6%. This figure show that 89.6% of the variable of satisfaction and job performance of employee are influenced by organizational behavior. The higher of organizational behavior, so the higher of the job satisfaction and job performance. And the last discussion, there are an effect of meaningful work in organizational behavior. So the on job performance. It was same with research by Husov, which explained that the meaningful work in improving the performance of employee only when employees engage in helpful behavior. And the last slide is suggestion. Number 1, for companies, this research can be useful as additional input in understanding and encouraging employee job performance improvement, and research suggests for companies that encourage their employees to show mutual help behavior. Considering this behavior can contribute to high employee job performance. Number two, the result of this research was expectant that contributes the discourse of scientific developed on this discipline of industrial psychology. And number three, for the next research, we are interested to examine these two variable. It was hoped that they can add other variable or factor that affect employee job performance, such as workability, work environment, and employee satisfaction. Thank you.
Okay, that was the presentation from Ms. Dian Savitri. Are there any questions for her?
May I?
Of course, Mr. Frickson.
I'm still a man, not a
Yes.
woman.
Sorry. In psychology, man is a minority, so.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Miss or Mrs. Gama.
If man in psychology, there was become a star.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I really appreciate it. Miss Dian, Mrs. Dian, I will ask you something because in my opinion, there is, if you try to use literature study, you know that performance have two category. That is in-role performance and extra-role performance. In-role performance and extra-role performance. And OCB, organizational citizenship behavior, is extra-role performance. If you try to study the correlation between performance and performance, I think it's, ya sudah pastilah, ya kan? You try to study correlation between performance, in-role performance, and extra-role performance. Extra-role performance is same as organizational citizenship behavior. If there is a score of correlation, it's a must because the two variable is one construct. That is the construct of performance. Can you explain it about it? Bisakah minta tolong dijelaskan mengapa menghubungkan, mengkorelasikan OCB dengan performance? Karena OCB itu adalah extra role performance. Jadi performance yang di luar job desk-nya. Coba monggo dibaca aja referensinya. Sedangkan performance yang satunya lagi in-role performance. Jadi kinerja yang berbasis pada job desk-nya. Nah, kalau performance Anda korelasikan dengan performance, menurut saya, ya iyalah berkorelasi, karena dia sama-sama performance. Pertanyaannya kenapa kok harus dikorelasikan? Toh sama-sama performance. Nah, itu aja sih pertanyaan saya. Terima kasih.
Okay, Ms. Dian Savitri, you want to answer that question? Kalau dalam bahasa Inggris, dalam bahasa Indonesia aja. Nah,
ya. Indonesia aja. Surabaya nih rapopo, Malangan nih rapopo.
Iya, sebentar. Jadi, mohon maaf saya jawab dengan bahasa Indonesia ya.
Iya, enggak apa-apa.
Jadi, kenapa saya menghubungkan antara role performance dengan extra role performance, gitu ya Pak?
Iya.
Jadi sebelumnya saya ingin membuktikan dari gagasan empiris dari Davy Fair bahwa kedua variabel ini, yaitu meaningful work dan organizational behavior ini, dapat berkontribusi terhadap kenaikan kinerja. Tapi berkontribusinya ini, setelah saya melakukan penelitian, ternyata harus dilakukan secara bersama-sama. Jadi tidak bisa antara misal meaningful work sendiri kepada job performance seperti itu. Jadi harus ada, jadi karyawan itu harus memiliki organizational behavior yang perilaku OCB yang lebih tinggi agar dia dapat memaknai pekerjaannya seperti itu sehingga nanti meningkatkan kinerja.
Mungkin sekedar sharing aja ya Mbak Dia. Jadi menurut saya kalau menggunakan job demand resource model, itu meaningful work-nya itu kenapa tidak berkorelasi langsung dengan performance, karena kalau menurut GDR itu dia harus melalui motivation. Jadi ada mediatornya namanya motivation. Nah motivation itu kalau dalam GDR namanya work engagement. Yang saya tahu begitu. Jadi meaningful work, engagement, motivation, baru dia performance. Nah, performance itu menurut Demeruti and Baker itu ada dua, in-role dan extra-role performance. In-role itu yang job desk itu, yang tadi Anda sebutkan ada adaptive performance ya. Karena itu juga sedang diuji sekarang di mahasiswa magister profesi psikologinya Ubaya. Lagi diuji itu adaptive performance ya. Sudah ada disertasi bahkan UNER ya, Bu Warih itu cek aja di YouTube. Ada itu adaptive performance. Itu juga mengaitkan dengan engagement dan job crafting ya. Gitu. Jadi yang menarik dari riset Anda itu adalah sebenarnya Anda menghasilkan temuan kalau meaningful work-nya menurut saya kenapa nggak signifikan kalau sendirian ke performance, karena dia harusnya melalui mediator. Kalau menurut JDR loh ya, ada mediatornya. Sedangkan kalau performance-nya kenapa dia berkorelasi juga dengan performance yang adalah extra role performance, karena dia konstruknya sama. Kalau konstruknya sama kan berarti mengkorelasikan dirinya sendiri. Menurut saya ini sekedar tambahan aja, barangkali memperkaya diskusi atau bahasan. Terima kasih Bu Gama, mohon maaf.
Terima kasih Pak. Ada tanggapan mungkin dari Mbak Dia? Oke, baik. If there are any questions. Okay, thank you, Mr. Frickson. Thank you, Ms. Dian Savitri. Time is up for Ms. Dian Savitri to present the paper. Thank you. Then we goes to Ms. Deviata Sari and Mr. Frickson Sinambela.
Yes.
Okay. Engaging leadership and innovation work behavior among millennials in Bank X, the role of work engagement as a mediator. Okay.
Yes, Ms. Devita first will present this presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Gama. Thank you, the operator. Thank you, all the participants. Good afternoon. I'm Devita Kurniasari, and here I'm with Mr. Frickson Christian Sinambela as my lecturer. Today we will explain about our research with the title. You already see my PowerPoint, right?
Right. We can see.
We can see it.
Okay, thank you. With the title, Engaging Leadership and Innovative Work Behavior Among Millennials in Bank X, the Role of Work Engagement as a Mediator. I did this research during my study in Master of Science of Psychology in Ubaya with my lecturer, Mr. Frickson. Okay, I'll start it. As we know, the Industry 4.0 and this rapid development of technology may threaten the sustainability of human position as workers in organization. So, every employee in organization is expected to show innovative work behavior to continue survival and respond to the Industry 4.0. And then the organization or company needs to increase the innovative work behavior to enhance its contribution toward development and of products and services that could deliver in a short way, thus they could meet the customer needs in this era, specifically the bank companies. Our object of this study, Bank X, they consistently innovate in terms of products and services. Their management and work system supports and encourage employee innovation processes. And we found that efforts in exploitative behavior associated with internal factors cannot be spirited leadership. Here we found that Sauvelli did the research about novel specific leadership called Engaging Leadership. Savelli et al. Did the research about impact of engaging leadership on innovative work behavior. So the purpose of this study is to examine and explain the effect of engaging leadership on innovative work behavior with work engagement as a mediator. So I will briefly explain about the literature review. Innovative work behavior is a process of employee behaviors in creating idea, promoting the idea, and realization the idea. And as I told before, that Savelli did the research about the novel specific leadership style called engaging leadership. The concept of engaging leadership based on self-determination theory by Deci and Ryan. He stated that engaged leaders will fulfill their employees' basic psychological needs by performing certain leadership behaviors, namely strengthening, empowering, connecting, and inspiring. For more detail, each aspect of engaging leadership will fulfill its basic psychological needs of the employee. Strengthening will fulfill the needs of competence. Empowering will fulfill the needs of autonomy. Connecting will fulfill the needs of relatedness. Inspiring will fulfill the need of meaning. Okay, next, innovative work behavior is also related to how engage employee in work. And this is called work engagement. And next, about millennial generation, our subject of this study are millennials generation. The millennials are around 21 to 41 years old. This is based on Twench and Campbell. Why millennial? Because the characteristic of millennial relate to the process of innovation. Millennials tend to look for opportunities to grow within an organization and produce greater productivity. Millennials tends to display innovative thoughts and behaviors and have the courage to think outside the box at work. And next, this is the GDR model. As Mr. Frickson mentioned before about the GDR model, we use this model as our theoretical foundation of the study. Or human resource model by Baker and Leather is mostly used by researchers to explaining innovative behavior. Refers to GDR model, there is job research and personal research have a role on performance or organizational outcome mediates by work engagement as motivational construct. And this study is trying to examining and explaining by adopting this GDR model that impact of engaging leadership as a job resource on innovative work behavior as a organizational outcome mediates by work engagement. So this is our hypothesis that work engagement has a role as a mediator in the relationship between engaging leadership and innovative work behavior. And this is the method of our study. We use quantitative method by online survey. Our population are millennials employees in Bank X in Surabaya. We use pattern analysis to test the effect of the mediator variable, that is work engagement, and we use Jensen scales by Jensen 2004. We use engaging leadership scale by Savelli, and we use US 17 by Savelli. Okay, next, the result, discussion, and conclusion will be explained by Mr. Frickson.
Thank you, Ms. Devita. The hypothesis is confirmed by the value of indirect effect. So we can conclude that there is a relationship between engaging leadership and innovative work behavior, with work engagement as a mediator among millennials in Bank X. This study supports the GDR model. There is a relationship between job resources, the engaging leadership as a part of job resources, and organizational outcome. Innovative work behavior is the part of organizational outcome, is mediated by work engagement as motivation construct. The second result is when we try to split all the aspect of engaging leadership, only one aspect that is survive or exists. Yeah, only empowering aspect that has a dominant role on work engagement of millennials in Bank X. Next. This is the discussion. Millennials of Bank X perception of engaging leadership will promote innovative work behavior through the process, including a few states, 2 states. 1, millennials who perceive that their leaders are always empowering, their need for autonomy will be fulfilled. Based on self-determination theory by Chi and Ryan as the theoretical foundation of engaging leadership concept by Soffoli, empowering will fulfill the needs of the autonomy of millennials. Thus, it can facilitate the engagement of millennial employees. A strong empowering aspect in leadership of Bank X leaders will ensure autonomy for the millennials and increasing motivation to generating new idea, innovative work behavior, promoting the ideas among team, and realize those ideas. Next. Conclusion. The effort to improve millennials' innovative work behavior must involve the motivational aspect before it is facilitated by engaging leadership. The motivational aspect in the form of vigor, dedication, and focus will support the emergence of innovative work behavior through the creation, promotion, and realization of new ideas in the workplace. Next. Thank you. Have a great day. If you have any question, do not be hesitate to ask me. I will try the best, and Ms. Devita to try the best to answer your question.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you, Ms. Devita and Mr. Frickson. Okay, are there any questions for them?
It is okay if in Indonesia, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to answer us in Indonesian,
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's okay. I will answer it with Javanese language.
Wah,
no.
Lebih repot.
No.
Okay. Any question? Audience?
Ya mungkin kalau saya mau menambahkan itu yang tadi saya sampaikan tentang GDR, bahwa dugaan saya kenapa tadi meaning of work tidak, meaning of work tidak berhubungan dengan performance karena ini gambar ini, GDR model ini. Jadi meaning of work itu masuk personal resources, dia tidak bisa langsung ke performance, in-role performance, atau extra role performance yang adalah OCB itu. Dia akan melalui motivation. Nah, motivation itu dugaan saya. Kenapa tadi Mbak Dian kok nggak signifikan yang korelasi parsial antara meaning full work atau meaning of work-nya dengan performance. Mungkin itu. Moga-moga ini menolong kita untuk juga lebih punya tambahan lah. Informasi.
Tambahan penelitian kira-kira ideal question for Ms. Devita and Mr. Frickson. We will move on to the next presenter. Thank you, Ms. Devita. Thank you, Mr. Frickson. Now we move to Agung Minto, right? Agung Minto Wahyu, Workplace Aggression and Job Satisfaction, a study on employees of PT ABC in Tangerang, Banten. For Mr. Agus Minto, yes. Agung Minto, sorry. You can share screen. Okay, you can start.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Saya Agung Minto Wahyu from State University of Malang. We will present a paper entitled Workplace Aggression and Job Satisfaction. Start in background. The inhibition of social factor in the work environment can result in discomfort. And one example is the presence of workplace aggression. Workplace aggression can take the form of verbal and physical violence that can make employees suffer. This can cause employees to leave their jobs as a form of dissatisfaction with their work environment. This is a form of manifestation of worker dissatisfaction. Other form of employee dissatisfaction can be caused by constructive, active voice, passive loyalty, and neglect of orders and prohibition. Research related to workplace aggression and job satisfaction in Indonesia so far. Research on the relationship between the two variables is still mostly done abroad. Most of the studies were conducted on medical staff in hospital, and there were only 3 studies administered on employee of private companies. Furthermore, in Indonesia, only 1 study discussed workplace aggression and employee satisfaction. Therefore, future research is needed to review the relationship between the two variables in various contexts. PT ABC Tangerang Banten is a company that has employees on a large scale and is under high work pressure. The result of the preliminary study show that the problem of job competition among employees is the main problem. Hostility that exists due to job competition is also unavoidable for employees. This triggers conflict between employees, and even small groups are formed which are used to find faults made by certain employees. This creates distrust, which result in mutual suspicion, so that it is easy to trigger aggression between employees. The trade union at PT ABC until now has not been able to optimally handle personal problems for its employee. No specific research has been conducted to see the correlation between workplace aggression and job satisfaction of PT ABC employees. In fact, it is important to do so the appropriate policies can be taken immediately to deal with these problems. The purpose of this study was to examine the relationship between workplace aggression and job satisfaction on employees of PT ABC in Tangerang, Banten. The hypothesis in this study is that there is a relationship between work aggression and job satisfaction on employee of PT ABC in Tangerang, Banten. The method in this study used correlation quantitative. The population is 103 employees of PT ABC, and determination of the sample is done by incidental sampling. The selected sample is 53 employees. The research instrument used is the workplace aggression scale developed from the Baron and Branscombe aspect, and the job dissatisfaction scale developed from the Robbins aspect. The result of descriptive analysis show that there are 53% of employees who have high score on both variables. The result of the classical assumption show that the research data has met the requirement for the normality test and linearity test. The result of the hypothesis test show that the correlation between workplace aggression and job satisfaction is 0.625 with a significant less than 0.05. Therefore, the hypothesis in this study is accepted. So that workplace aggression is negatively correlated with job satisfaction. The results of this study are in line with several other studies. On the other hand, there is only one study that differs from this study. Specifically, this study takes one of the factors that influence employee job satisfaction, namely social factor. If there is aggression in the workplace, it will be an obstacle to social factor that create job satisfaction. Workplace aggression at PTABC occurs because of fellow employees. On the other hand, the union that acts as an employee protector only solve problems between employees and the company. However, this act of aggression didn't make other employees decide to leave the company. They prefer to keep working. They are more likely to express their discontent in a way of neglect as described earlier. It can be concluded that employees are satisfied with the wages they get, but are not satisfied with the work environment. So they choose to express job dissatisfaction with a passive and covert attitude in the company. Thus, it can be concluded that there is a significant relationship between workplace aggression and job satisfaction. Thank you.
Okay, sorry for the problem in my place because it's raining here. Okay, that's all. Are there any questions? Okay. Okay, if there are no questions for Mr. Agung Minto, I want to say thank you for Mr. Agung Minto for the presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think all the presenters have presented their papers, and hopefully from this session, there will be more input and new ideas for further research. Me as a moderator want to say thank you for your time, for your energy to join with this conference, and I want to say apologize if there are any mistakes misaligned in here. Good afternoon, everyone. Good luck. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you all. See you.